Welcome in, everybody. Today we're going to be discussing everything immune system. I got Dr. Whiting here so we can kind of keep everything on track, and I hope you enjoy it. First off, your immune system. I'm sure everyone's done a little bit of research, especially with the latest developments over the last couple of years. And we're going to try to dive into it and see if we can't get you some answers that really, that can shed some light on the questions that are asked most often and regularly. So first off, how does the immune system work?
There's a simplified explanation, which is probably all most people would need. Basically, your immune system is the result of two sources. We call that inborn and acquired. Inborn immunity is what you're born with. It's what you get from your parents. Obviously, more so your mom than your dad, but it's what you get from their immune experience. And we'll go into that a little bit later. The others is what we call acquired immunity. That's the immunity you get as you go through life. So, for example, when you get your first cold, at whatever age that happens to be, your body builds antibodies to that virus. And it remembers that virus. It takes a picture of it. And that's what we call acquired immunity. So that becomes part of your immune profile. And there are some viruses that we can get over and over. For example, the common cold. There are some viruses that you get only once, and you'll likely never get them again because your immune system now recognizes that pathogen and deals with it before you ever know you were exposed. So that's the two areas that make up the majority of what your immune system is made of as an individual.
Nice. And what age does that acquired start? I've heard it starts about like 7 or 8.
Actually, it can start much earlier than that. It really just depends on a whole variety of factors. How sterile the environment is for the infant, what they're exposed to. If they're exposed to the great outdoors and crowds and traffic and things like that, their immune system will begin to acquire antibodies much younger than that.
Yeah, nice. So how do you boost your immune system naturally?
Well, the immune system is directly tied to everything else.
Okay.
So if you're not getting adequate sleep, you're not eating decent food at least once in a while, those types of things will potentially negatively affect your immune system, because the immune system, kind of liken it to a muscle in your arm. Okay, and when you pick up that 20-pound weight and you curl it up to your shoulder, and you do that 5 or 6 times, you're actually building that muscle because you're breaking it down, and it rebuilds bigger and stronger than it was before. Well, the immune system is very similar. Whenever you're exposed to stresses, and those stresses can be physical, they can be mental, they can be emotional, they can be environmental, but whenever you're exposed to those, your immune system reacts and then rebuilds itself a little stronger than before. But now let's take that same weight that you're lifting with your arm, and you do it 10 times, 20 times, 30 times.
Okay.
And you do it until you eventually, that arm muscle is simply going to give out. Because you have reached maximum exhaustion. Got it. Same thing happens with your immune system. If you overplay your cards, you don't get adequate rest, you don't eat, you overindulge in substances and foods and things that are a challenge to the body rather than supportive. And then you have excess stress on top of that, and then you're exposed to a pathogen or a virus or a bacteria. Bingo, you're likely to have a much more difficult time to overcome it, because your immune system has literally become exhausted, just like your arm muscle, from overwork, for lack of a better way.
And so, would you say stress is the biggest effect, that has the biggest effect on the immune
think
system?
so, yeah. Because stress encompasses so many things. Lack of sleep, that's a stressor.
Yeah.
A lack of physical activity, it's a stressor. Poor diet, it's a stressor. So you can probably say...
Oh, I see. You're looking at it from every single one of them.
That's why I've said for decades that stress is the cardinal or original cause of all disease and disorder.
Yeah. And so what are the symptoms of a weaker or not as adequate immune system?
You catch every cold and flu that comes along.
Yeah.
Because your body, your immune system can't react fast enough because it's exhausted.
Yeah.
And so by the time it gets around to building antibodies and doing what it will, in most cases, do eventually, you're down with the fever and the chills and the symptoms of colds and flu, simply because your immune system was unable to react fast enough because it's been overexhausted.